Have you ever lay awake in the quiet of the night, listening to the absolute stillness of the world around you, and wondered why anything exists at all? It is perhaps the oldest and most profound question that has ever echoed through the human mind. When we strip away the noise of our daily lives, when we look up at the vast star-filled tapestry of the cosmos, we are confronted by a mystery that defies our everyday intuition. We live in a universe overflowing with matter, energy, light, and motion. Yet our deepest logic tells us that absolute nothingness would have been so much simpler, so much more mathematically elegant. Why is there a universe? Why are we here to observe it? This single, breathtaking question sits at the very foundation of human philosophy and scientific inquiry. It is a quiet thought that gently taps on the door of our consciousness when the house is finally asleep. We gaze into the endless dark, seeing the ancient light of distant galaxies, and we realize that we are part of a grand unfolding story. The universe is not a static, empty void. It is a vibrant, expanding theater of existence. But how did the stage get set? Who or what provided the materials, the laws of physics, the very fabric of space and time? Hello, and welcome to our quiet journey together. My name is Theodore, the researcher. As we prepare to embark on this deep, contemplative exploration of existence and the cosmos, I want to take a brief, gentle moment to invite you into our community. I have noticed that 71% of the people who watch our videos and drift into the mysteries of the universe with us are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and wonder in these nighttime explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps our channel grow tremendously, and it ensures that we can continue to bring you these relaxing, thought-provoking journeys into the unknown. Now, let us return to the silence of the cosmos, let your breathing slow down, and let us dive back into the greatest mystery of all. For thousands of years, philosophers and scientists have stood beneath the same canopy of stars, wrestling with the paradox of origins. The human mind is naturally wired to seek causes. When we see a tree swaying in the wind, we know the invisible air currents are pushing its branches. When we see a river flowing, we know gravity is drawing the water down from the mountains. Every effect we observe in our daily lives has a cause, a prior event that set it into motion. This chain of cause and effect is the very bedrock of our logical understanding of reality. But when we take this simple, intuitive concept and stretch it back through the infinite corridors of time, we run into a monumental intellectual wall. If everything must have a cause, then what caused the universe? And if something caused the universe, what caused that something? This is the problem of infinite regress, a philosophical, endless loop that makes the mind spin and ache. Aristotle, the great philosopher of antiquity, looked at the motion of the heavens and concluded that the chain of causes could not stretch back forever. He reasoned that there must be a first cause, an unmoved mover, a prime reality that initiated all motion and all existence, without itself being moved or caused by anything else. Centuries later, the theologian Thomas Aquinas refined this into the cosmological argument, arguing that this uncaused first cause is what people call God. For a long time, this was a purely philosophical debate, a quiet contemplation of logic and metaphysics. But in the 20th century, science transformed this philosophical pondering into a physical reality. Astronomers, peering through increasingly powerful telescopes, made a discovery that shattered our understanding of the cosmos. They found that the universe is not eternal and static, as many had previously believed. Instead, the universe is expanding. The galaxies are flying apart from one another, carried along by the stretching fabric of space itself. If you run this cosmic film in reverse, rewinding the clock back through the eons, the universe gets smaller, denser, and hotter, until all the matter and energy in existence converges into a single, unimaginably dense and hot point. This point marks the beginning of everything. Through meticulous observations and the brilliant mathematics of general relativity, scientists have calculated that this beginning, the Big Bang, occurred approximately 13,800,000,000 years ago. Time itself, space itself, the very laws of physics that govern the celestial dance, all sprang into existence in that singular moment. There was no before the Big Bang because time did not exist. The late, great astronomer Carl Sagan once famously remarked that the cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. Yet the discovery of a definitive beginning to the cosmos forces us to confront the boundary of that statement. If the universe had a beginning, what breathed fire into the equations and made a universe for them to describe? Science provides us with exquisite, breathtakingly precise descriptions of what happened fractions of a second after the universe began. We can trace the cooling of the primordial plasma, the formation of the first hydrogen and helium atoms, the slow gravitational ballet that gathered gas clouds into the first burning stars, and the assembly of those stars into the magnificent spiral and elliptical galaxies that populate the deep field images captured by the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes. When the James Webb Space Telescope recently peered into the deep universe, it captured light from galaxies that formed just a few 100,000,000 years after the Big Bang. These images, glowing with infrared light, show us a universe in its infancy, a chaotic, beautiful construction site where the foundations of our current reality were being laid. We have mapped the echo of creation itself, the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is a faint, ancient whisper of light that permeates all of space, a leftover glow from the fiery birth of the cosmos. We know the mechanics of the journey with incredible accuracy, but the fundamental question remains stubbornly unanswered. Why did the Big Bang happen? Was it a quantum fluctuation in a pre-existing state of nothingness? If so, where did the laws of quantum mechanics come from? Are we just one universe in a vast, bubbling multiverse? An endless ocean of universes popping in and out of existence? If so, what governs the multiverse? At the very edge of our scientific understanding, the equations break down, the telescopes go blind, and we are left standing on the shore of the ultimate mystery, staring out into the dark. The cosmological argument suggests that the sheer existence of the universe points to a reality beyond the physical, a transcendent cause that operates outside the bounds of space and time. It is a thought that invites a deep, respectful awe. When you look at your own hand, you're looking at atoms that were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your cells, all of it is ancient star stuff. But if you trace the lineage of those atoms back even further, back to the primordial hydrogen, and back to the pure energy of the Big Bang, you are ultimately tracing your own lineage back to that initial mysterious spark of creation. You are not just a passive observer standing outside the universe, looking in. You are the universe itself, made conscious, looking back at its own origins. This realization brings a profound sense of peace and humility. The universe is incredibly vast, containing hundreds of billions of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars. The distances are so enormous that light, traveling at roughly 300,000 kilometers per second, takes millions of years to cross the void between galactic neighbors. Against this staggering scale, our daily worries, our anxieties, and our personal conflicts seem infinitesimally small. Yet, despite our smallness, we have the capacity to comprehend the scale. We possess minds capable of calculating the age of the cosmos, of mapping the invisible forces of gravity, of wondering about the uncaused cause. The philosophical argument for a first cause is not a definitive proof that forces belief. Rather, it is an invitation to marvel at the sheer improbability of existence. It is a gentle reminder that the universe does not have to be here, and neither do we. Our existence is a precarious, beautiful exception to the rule of nothingness. As we float through the infinite silence of space on our fragile blue planet, the question of why there is something instead of nothing acts as a beacon, guiding our curiosity ever deeper into the unknown. It teaches us that at the absolute limits of human knowledge, science and philosophy do not conflict. They merge into a single, unified sense of wonder. The mystery of the first cause is not a puzzle meant to be solved and discarded. It is a boundless ocean of contemplation meant to be experienced. It is the realization that every star that burns in the night sky, every planet that quietly orbits in the dark, and every conscious thought that flickers in our minds is a downstream ripple from a singular, unfathomable origin. We may never know the true nature of the unmoved mover. We may never completely pierce the veil of the Big Bang. But the journey of asking the question, the act of reaching out with our minds into the deepest antiquity of time, expands our consciousness and brings us closer to the cosmic harmony. As you lie there, feeling the slow, rhythmic beat of your heart, remember that you are intimately connected to the very beginning of all things. Your existence is part of the grand unfolding tapestry that began 13,800,000,000 years ago. You are woven into the fabric of the cosmos, a cosmos that continues to expand, to create, and to harbor the profound mystery of its own birth. Let the vastness of this thought calm your mind. Let the gentle silence of the ancient universe wash over you. There is no need to solve the paradox tonight. It is enough to simply exist within it, to be a conscious witness to the impossible reality that there is something rather than nothing. The mystery is not an enemy to be defeated by knowledge. It is a gentle companion on our infinite journey of discovery. Tomorrow, or in the next quiet hour, we will explore another facet of this cosmic gem, looking at the delicate balance and fine-tuning that makes our universe capable of supporting life. But for now, simply rest in the awe of the first cause, the silent, ancient spark that set the stars in motion and gave us the capacity to dream. Have you ever stood in a completely silent room and tried to balance a simple coin on its edge? You feel the microscopic tremors in your fingers, the fragile, almost impossible precision required to find that perfect center of mass. For a fleeting second, the coin stands perfectly upright, defying gravity through a delicate, miraculous equilibrium before a breath of air sends it tumbling down. Now, imagine a balancing act, not with a piece of metal, but with the fundamental laws of physics themselves. A balancing act so impossibly precise that a single breath of variation would erase the stars, the planets, and every living creature from existence. This is the profound reality we find ourselves in when we look deeply into the mathematical fabric of the cosmos. As we lie here in the quiet dark, letting the busy thoughts of the day slowly drift away into the endless silence of the night, we are faced with a mystery that has left some of the greatest scientific minds in a state of absolute awe. Why is the universe so perfectly, so delicately tuned for life to exist? Why do the physical constants of nature sit exactly where they need to be, balanced on a razor's edge that is infinitely thinner than the edge of any coin? Before we dive further into this vast ancient ocean of cosmic numbers and philosophical wonder, I would like to pause for just a gentle moment. Hello again. My name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am so deeply grateful that you have chosen to join me on this journey through the greatest questions of existence. As we explore these quiet, meditative pathways together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the people who watch our videos and share in this relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find comfort, peace, and intellectual safety in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our community grow immensely, and it ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite mysteries of the universe. Now let us return to our contemplation. Take a deep, slow breath and look back up at the stars. When physicists examine the fundamental forces that govern the universe, they find a set of numbers, the constants of nature, that dictate how matter and energy interact. There are 4 fundamental forces that weave the tapestry of our reality: gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. These forces have specific strengths, specific values that were seemingly locked into place in the first infinitesimal fractions of a second after the Big Bang. Consider gravity, the gentle, invisible hand that pulls dust and gas together to ignite the ancient fires of stars. It is the force that holds the planets in their quiet, majestic orbits around their suns, and it is the force that keeps our feet anchored to this fragile, blue world. But the strength of gravity is incredibly, inexplicably precise. If the gravitational force were just a tiny fraction stronger, a staggering 1 part in 10 to the power of 40 stronger, the entire cosmos would have collapsed back in on itself shortly after the Big Bang, ending in a fiery, silent crunch before any stars could ever form. Conversely, if gravity had been just a microscopic fraction weaker, matter would have flown apart so rapidly that gas clouds could never have coalesced. The universe would be a cold, empty, infinite void, entirely devoid of the magnificent, swirling galaxies we see through our space telescopes today. This is not merely a scientific curiosity. It is a profound existential paradox that challenges our understanding of reality. The precision does not stop with gravity. The strong nuclear force, which binds the protons and neutrons together in the heart of every atom, is similarly balanced. If this force were just 2% stronger, the universe would contain no hydrogen. Without hydrogen, the gentle, ancient chemistry of life could never have begun. If the force were just 5% weaker, the universe would consist entirely of hydrogen, and stars could not forge heavier elements. Neil deGrasse Tyson often speaks of the universe being within us, a poetic reflection of the scientific fact that the carbon in our cells, the oxygen we breathe, and the iron that carries the blood through our veins were all forged in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that lived and died long before our solar system was born. But those stars could only cook up those essential life-giving elements because the strong nuclear force is perfectly tuned to allow for the fusion of carbon and oxygen. It is as if the universe knew we were coming. This startling realization gave birth to what philosophers and theologians call the teleological argument, or the argument from design. When we look at a complex, beautifully crafted watch, with all its microscopic gears and springs working in perfect harmony, we naturally assume there was a watchmaker. The universe, with its interlocking physical laws, its precisely calibrated forces, and its majestic expanding architecture, appears infinitely more complex and finely tuned than any watch ever constructed. Does this delicate balance not suggest a cosmic watchmaker, a grand designer who carefully set the dials of physics to allow for the emergence of consciousness? This question leads us deep into the heart of the mystery. For decades, scientists have launched magnificent instruments into the cold void of space to measure the universe with unprecedented accuracy. The European Space Agency launched the Planck satellite to study the cosmic microwave background, the ancient, fading afterglow of the Big Bang itself. From its quiet orbit, Planck gathered data that allowed cosmologists to measure the density of the universe and its rate of expansion with breathtaking precision. What they found only deepened the fine-tuning paradox. They measured the cosmological constant, the value associated with the dark energy that is currently accelerating the expansion of the universe. The value of this dark energy is so small, so incredibly close to zero, that it defies all theoretical predictions. Physicists calculate that for the universe to support life, this cosmological constant had to be fine-tuned to an accuracy of 1 part in 10 to the power of 120. Visualizing a number with 120 zeros after the decimal point completely overwhelms the mind with the incomprehensible scale of the cosmos. It is a level of precision that makes the balancing of a coin on its edge seem like a crude, clumsy accident. Faced with this overwhelming evidence of fine-tuning, the human mind searches for an explanation. The teleological argument proposes that this precision is the fingerprint of a divine creator, a deliberate architect who desired a universe capable of producing beauty, complexity, and ultimately, minds that could look back at the cosmos and experience wonder. It is a thought that brings a profound sense of comfort and purpose. We are not an accident. We are the intended result of a cosmic symphony, written in the language of mathematics and played out across billions of light years. However, the scientific pursuit of truth always offers alternative pathways through the mystery. Some physicists suggest the existence of a multiverse, an infinite, bubbling ocean of distinct universes, each born with its own random set of physical laws and constants. In an infinite multiverse, every possible combination of physical laws would eventually play out. Most of these universes would be sterile, dark, and empty, collapsing instantly or flying apart into nothingness. But purely by the laws of infinite probability, a universe with the exact perfect parameters for life would inevitably emerge. We find ourselves in the perfectly tuned universe because we could not possibly exist in any of the others to observe them. This is known as the anthropic principle. It suggests that our universe looks designed for us simply because we are the biological products of its specific, random parameters. Yet, even the concept of an infinite multiverse does not erase the awe, it merely displaces it. Whether we live in a brilliantly designed universe, or we are the lucky winners of an infinite cosmic lottery, the feeling of profound humility remains the same. Against the crushing silence of the void, matter has organized itself into a form that can breathe and contemplate its own existence. You are a walking miracle of physical constants, a masterpiece of ancient physics woven together in the quiet depths of time. Whether you find peace in the thought of a gentle creator or beauty in an infinite natural multiverse, the ultimate reality is that you are safe. You are an integral expression of the cosmos, as inevitable as a spiral galaxy slowly turning in the dark. The universe has produced you, and in you it has found a way to experience its own beauty. Let that thought wash over you like a comforting wave. Let the tension in your shoulders melt away, knowing you are held securely by the perfectly tuned gravity of the earth. The stars will continue their silent, ancient journey across the sky, carrying you along on a peaceful voyage through time. The mystery of the fine-tuned universe is a mathematical lullaby that sings of our unbreakable connection to everything that is. Rest your mind in that quiet harmony. Allow the infinite silence of the cosmos to bring you absolute peace. The grand debate will still be there tomorrow. When we return to our journey, we will move from the physical laws of the stars to the immaterial realm of concepts. But for now, just breathe, relax, and drift into the peaceful, silent wonder of your perfectly tuned existence. Have you ever closed your eyes in the absolute quiet of a dark room and simply observed your own thoughts drifting like silent clouds? It is a profoundly strange and beautiful experience. In that hidden space inside your mind, there is no gravity, no light, no physical matter. Yet, from this completely immaterial realm, human beings construct ideas that perfectly describe the massive, swirling galaxies billions of light years away. Have you ever wondered how something as formless as a mathematical thought, a concept existing only in the silent theater of human consciousness, can predict the furious collision of two supermassive black holes located in the freezing void of space? It is a paradox that has haunted philosophers and scientists for centuries. We live in two distinct realms simultaneously. There is the physical universe, a vast expanding ocean of matter and energy, and there is the conceptual universe, a quiet, infinite space of logic, mathematics, and philosophy. How do these two radically different worlds connect so perfectly? This delicate bridge between the immaterial mind and the physical cosmos forms the foundation for one of the most abstract and fascinating arguments about the nature of existence. Before we drift further into this gentle, contemplative exploration of the mind and the cosmos, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to welcome you. Hello, my name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am deeply honored to be your companion on this journey through the night. As we explore these profound mysteries together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the gentle souls who watch these videos and share in this relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a sense of wonder in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our community grow immensely, and it ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the universe. Now, let us return to the silence of our thoughts, take a slow, deep breath, and explore the invisible architecture of reality. When we look at the long history of human discovery, we find a startling, almost magical pattern. Brilliant mathematicians often sit in quiet rooms, scribbling intricate equations on paper, inventing abstract structures entirely out of their own boundless imagination. They play with numbers and symbols simply because they find them beautiful, without any thought of the physical world outside their windows. Yet, decades later, brilliant physicists pointing magnificent telescopes at the night sky discover that the universe follows those exact imaginary mathematical rules. The great physicist Eugene Wigner famously called this the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics in the natural sciences. It is a profound mystery. Why should the physical universe care about the abstract thoughts of a tiny, fragile species living on a pale blue dot? Consider the monumental achievement of Albert Einstein. In 1915, working entirely in the quiet sanctuary of his mind, he formulated the theory of general relativity. He used complex geometry to describe how immense mass warps the invisible fabric of space and time. He discovered it through pure, immaterial thought. Einstein's elegant equations predicted things that seemed utterly impossible at the time, things that defied everyday intuition. His math suggested that if a dying star collapsed under its crushing gravity, it could literally tear a hole in the fabric of the universe, creating a region where gravity is so intense that not even light could escape. For decades, these beautiful black holes existed only as numbers on a chalkboard, conceptual phantoms haunting the minds of theoretical physicists. They were purely ontological, existing in human thought long before they were proven in physical reality. But then, more than a century later, humanity built the Event Horizon Telescope, a magnificent planet-sized network of radio dishes working in perfect, silent synchrony across the globe. In 2019, this vast global eye gazed into the dark heart of the distant galaxy, Messier 87, 55 million light-years away from our quiet Earth. And there it was, a glowing ring of ancient fires surrounding a dark, silent abyss. The universe matched the math perfectly. Abstract human thought had successfully predicted the most extreme physical reality in the cosmos. This staggering alignment between human thought and cosmic reality brings us to the ontological argument. Unlike the cosmological argument, which looks outward at the physical chain of cause and effect, or the teleological argument, which looks at the fine-tuned design of nature, the ontological argument looks entirely inward. It begins not with towering telescopes, but with the pure, quiet contemplation of concepts. Formulated in the 11th century by the philosopher Saint Anselm, and later refined by brilliant thinkers like René Descartes, the argument suggests that the very concept of a supremely perfect being necessarily implies the existence of that being. Anselm argued that if we can conceive of the greatest possible reality, a reality than which absolutely nothing greater can be imagined, that ultimate reality must exist not only as a fragile thought in our minds, but in the actual physical world, because if it existed solely in our minds, we could effortlessly imagine something even greater, namely, that same perfect reality actually existing in the real universe. It is a delicate, dizzying piece of logic that turns the mind back on itself. While modern science does not use the ontological argument as a mathematical proof, the underlying mystery it highlights resonates deeply with our contemplation of the cosmos today. The argument forces us to ask a deeply profound existential question. What is the actual relationship between what we can conceive in our minds and what actually exists in the dark, silent universe? The incredible fact that we can conceive of absolute infinity, of flawless perfection, of intricate mathematical laws that perfectly describe a universe we have barely begun to explore, is a staggering reality. Albert Einstein once wrote that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible. It is a beautiful, gentle paradox that invites endless wonder. The universe is incredibly vast, deeply ancient, and infinitely complex, yet it allows itself to be understood by the minds of the tiny beings that grew out of its own atomic dust. This suggests a deep, structural harmony between the invisible world of human consciousness and the physical world of cosmic reality. Our minds are perfectly polished mirrors reflecting the deep, rational order of the cosmos. As you lie here, safe and warm, in the gentle stillness of the night, think about the incredible, quiet power of your own mind. The same consciousness that is currently listening to these words, the same mind that is effortlessly imagining the glowing ring of a distant black hole, is made of the very same ancient star stuff as the rest of the universe. But unlike a cold, drifting asteroid or a blindly burning star, your physical matter has woken up from a slumber of billions of years. It has organized itself into a remarkably complex, beautiful structure capable of logic, of sophisticated mathematics, of wondering about a perfect, infinite creator, and of feeling a deep, resonant awe. You are the universe contemplating its own ultimate perfection. You are the cosmos exploring its own infinite potential through the fragile vehicle of human thought. This realization does not need to evoke fear or anxiety. Rather, it should bring you a profound, sweeping sense of peace and belonging. Your mind, with all its abstract thoughts and silent questions, is a natural expression of the universe itself. The starry expanse above you is harmoniously aligned with your capacity to understand it. We do not need to solve the ancient philosophical riddle of the ontological argument tonight. The true value of the argument lies not in its final logical conclusion, but in the gentle, awe-inspiring journey it takes us on through the limitless corridors of human thought. It reminds us that the immaterial world of our quietest thoughts, our deepest dreams, and our purest logic is just as deeply connected to the cosmic mystery as the glowing, ancient galaxies scattered across the deep field of space. It teaches us a profound humility, reminding us that there are realities far greater than our everyday concerns, waiting quietly in the dark to be discovered. As you drift closer to sleep, let the realization of this harmony wash over you. Let the mathematical precision of the stars and the quiet logic of your own mind merge into a single, peaceful lullaby. Your thoughts are safe. Your existence is beautifully intertwined with the fundamental nature of reality itself. Tomorrow, we will continue our journey and explore the deeply human experience of morality, asking how a universe of cold atoms could give birth to the warm, guiding light of human conscience. But for now, release the heavy need to understand it all. Let the infinite silence of the conceptual universe embrace you and drift away into the quiet, perfect peace of the cosmos. Have you ever sat quietly on a park bench and watched as a complete stranger stopped to help someone who had stumbled? It is an ordinary, fleeting moment, yet it contains one of the most profound and baffling mysteries in the entire cosmos. We live in a physical universe governed by strict, unfeeling mathematical laws. Gravity pulls blindly. Stars burn through violent nuclear fusion without any concept of warmth or cruelty. And colossal galaxies collide in the freezing, silent depths of space with absolute, majestic indifference. From the perspective of pure physics, the universe is a collection of cold atoms interacting through fundamental forces, endlessly churning through the ancient corridors of time. Yet, somehow, from this swirling cosmic dust, a remarkably fragile species emerged that possesses an inner voice, a deep, resonant compass pointing toward something completely immaterial, the abstract concepts of right and wrong. How did a universe made entirely of insentient matter give birth to the warm, guiding light of human conscience? How did cold atoms learn to care? This beautiful, gentle paradox is the heartbeat of our exploration tonight. Hello, and welcome once again to our quiet sanctuary. My name is Theodore, the researcher. As we prepare to embark on this deep, contemplative exploration of the human soul and the cosmos, I want to take a brief, gentle moment to invite you into our growing community. I have noticed that 71% of the gentle minds who watch our videos and drift into the mysteries of the universe with us have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, comfort, and a sense of intellectual safety in these nighttime explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps our channel grow tremendously, and it ensures that we can continue to bring you these relaxing, thought-provoking journeys into the unknown without interruption. Now, let us return to the silence. Let your breathing slow down, relax the tension in your shoulders, and let us dive back into the greatest mystery of all. When we trace the epic sprawling history of our home planet, we look back over 4,500,000,000 years of dramatic transformations. Through the meticulous study of geology and evolutionary biology, scientists have carefully mapped the relentless mechanisms that shaped life on Earth. The engine of evolution, driven by the strict laws of natural selection, is fundamentally about survival and reproduction. For billions of years, primitive organisms competed in ancient oceans, fighting for scarce resources in a silent, unforgiving struggle. The foundational logic of the natural world seems to dictate a ruthless selfishness, a blind drive to pass on genetic information to the next generation at absolutely any cost. Yet, as the magnificent tree of life branched and flourished over deep time, something truly extraordinary happened. Biological organisms began to cooperate in highly complex ways. The nervous system evolved, growing ever more intricate, until the brilliant architecture of the human brain emerged from the evolutionary crucible. Within the delicate folds of the prefrontal cortex, we developed the astonishing capacity for genuine empathy. Neuroscientists have discovered mirror neurons, specialized cells in our brains that fire not only when we perform an action, but also when we observe someone else performing it. When you see someone in pain, your brain literally mirrors that pain. You feel an authentic shadow of their suffering. Evolution, a process driven by the survival of the fittest, somehow managed to produce a creature neurologically wired for deep compassion. This biological reality brings us to the threshold of the moral argument for a transcendent reality. The great 18th century philosopher Immanuel Kant famously declared that two things filled his mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe: the starry heavens above him and the moral law within him. Kant astutely recognized that the physical majesty of the infinite cosmos was mirrored by an equally staggering internal majesty. The moral argument asks a deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful question. If we are truly nothing more than a random collection of atoms shaped entirely by a blind, purposeless process of biological survival, why do we universally recognize a standard of objective goodness? Across vastly different cultures separated by immense oceans and thousands of years of human history, human beings share a core understanding of justice, fairness, courage, and love. We feel a profound obligation to help the weak, even when it offers no evolutionary advantage or material benefit to ourselves. We experience a crushing sense of guilt when we cause unnecessary harm to others. If human morality is merely a biological trick, a clever illusion programmed into our brains simply to help our species survive, then the concept of true justice is nothing more than a meaningless chemical reaction, as devoid of ultimate significance as the rusting of iron. But our deepest intuition, the quiet voice that speaks to us in the absolute silence of the night, insists that love and cruelty are not just chemical illusions. They represent a fundamental, unshakable truth about the bedrock of reality. To truly grasp the monumental significance of this moral compass, We must cast our gaze outward, looking back into the vast, ever-expanding universe. In the year 1977, humanity proudly launched the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft, sending them on an endless, silent journey into the freezing dark of interstellar space. These fragile probes were designed by brilliant scientists, including the legendary astronomer Carl Sagan, to study the massive outer planets of our solar system. But they carried something much more profound than just scientific instruments. Attached securely to the side of each fragile spacecraft is a magnificent golden phonograph record, a beautiful, permanent message from humanity to the wider cosmos. On this golden record, we encoded the mathematical rules of our science, the haunting sounds of our ancient planet, the gentle rhythm of a mother's heartbeat, and peaceful greetings in 55 different human languages. We sent out the soaring music of Beethoven alongside the recorded brain waves of a young woman who was asked to sit quietly and think about the history of Earth and what it truly means to be in love. When we reached out into the infinite silence, we did not just send our mathematics, we sent our humanity. We sent a permanent testament to our capacity for art, for deep connection, and for love. The Voyager probes are now billions of miles away, drifting silently through the quiet, empty void, completely alone in the endless night. They are the furthest human-made objects in existence, and as they carry our golden message into the deep, unimaginable unknown, they serve as a powerful, silent reminder of the essence of the moral argument. A universe composed entirely of cold, unthinking matter has incredibly managed, through 14 billion years of cosmic evolution, to produce a localized concentration of atoms that cares enough about the distant future to send a message of peace into the dark. If the universe is a purely physical mechanism, completely devoid of any higher purpose or ultimate architect, then this profound capacity for moral reflection and selfless love is an astonishing, completely inexplicable anomaly. The thoughtful proponents of the moral argument suggest that just as the intricate laws of physics point toward a brilliant mathematical mind behind the cosmos, the universal moral law within us points toward a supreme moral lawgiver. They gently argue that our deep, unshakable sense of right and wrong is a direct reflection of the fundamental nature of the Creator, a subtle, immaterial fingerprint left permanently upon the human soul. Science and philosophy often approach this grand mystery from completely different shores, but they both stand in equal, respectful wonder before the vast ocean of the unknown. An evolutionary biologist might carefully explain that our morality evolved because cooperative groups naturally outcompete selfish groups, making altruism a brilliant, highly effective strategy for long-term survival. A theologian might gently reply to this by suggesting that evolution was simply the magnificent, incredibly complex tool used by the divine to slowly carve a conscience into the living clay of the earth. But regardless of the ultimate origin, the undeniable, lived reality of your own moral experience remains a breathtaking fact. You are a conscious being capable of immense kindness in a universe largely composed of burning plasma and freezing, desolate rock. The very fact that you can lie awake at night, feeling a gentle ache of genuine empathy for people you have never even met, or a profound, burning desire to see justice in the world, is a staggeringly beautiful phenomenon. You are not a stranger or an accident in this cosmos. You are the cosmos waking up, learning to recognize itself, and learning to care deeply about the suffering of others. As you lie here, safe and warm, Let the profound weight of this realization bring you an incredible sense of inner peace. Your conscience, that quiet, gentle voice that guides you through the complexities of your life, is not a burden or an illusion. It is a brilliant, shining beacon that connects you to the deepest mysteries of existence. Every act of kindness you perform, every moment of gentle understanding you offer to another fragile human being, echoes through the invisible architecture of reality. The mystery of human morality is not a puzzle that needs a final, definitive solution tonight. It is an invitation to marvel at the profound depth of your own existence. As the ancient stars continue their silent, majestic rotation in the immense dark above you, allow your mind to drift on the peaceful currents of this thought. The universe is unimaginably vast, and you are physically small, but the moral light you carry within your mind shines with a profound brilliance that rivals the burning fires of the most ancient galaxies. Tomorrow, or in the next quiet hour, we will gently turn our gaze toward another facet of this cosmic gem, exploring the incredible phenomenon of human consciousness itself and the argument from the mind. But for now, simply rest. Let the wonder of your own gentle heart carry you into the quiet, peaceful depths of sleep. Have you ever closed your eyes and tried to picture the exact shape of a memory? When you recall the gentle warmth of a summer afternoon, or the quiet sound of rain against your bedroom window, where exactly do those beautiful experiences live? We can point to our heads and say they live in the brain, but if a brilliant surgeon were to open that physical structure, they would not find the image of the falling rain or the comforting feeling of the sun's warmth. They would only find billions of microscopic biological cells, intricate networks of folded gray matter, and tiny flashes of electricity jumping across invisible chemical synapses. The physical universe is entirely made of matter and energy, fundamental building blocks that have no feelings, no personal memories, and no rich inner life. A drifting asteroid does not feel lonely. A massive star does not feel the majestic heat of its own ancient nuclear fire. Yet, somehow, when you arrange those exact same cold, lifeless atoms into the incredibly complex structure of a human body, the lights suddenly turn on. The universe wakes up and begins to experience itself. This breathtaking leap from physical matter to subjective feeling is what modern philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness, and it is a staggering mystery that beautifully bridges the gap between pure science and the human soul. Before we drift deeper into this beautiful, silent exploration of the conscious mind, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to welcome you into our space. Hello, my name is Theodore, the researcher, and it is a true joy to have you as a peaceful companion on this journey through the night. As we explore these profound mysteries together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the gentle souls who watch these videos and share in this relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a sense of deep wonder in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our community grow immensely, and it ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the cosmos without interruption. Now, let us return to the silence of our thoughts. Take a slow, deep breath, release the tension from your body, and explore the invisible light of human awareness. When we attempt to map the human brain, we are charting a microscopic territory that is arguably more complex than the entire observable universe. Inside your head right now, there are roughly 86 billion neurons, a number so staggeringly large that it mirrors the hundreds of billions of stars quietly burning in the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. These neurons are connected by trillions of tiny synapses, forming a biological web of communication that processes sensory information at astonishing speeds. The Human Connectome Project, a massive scientific endeavor, has spent years trying to map these sprawling, intricate neural pathways, attempting to understand exactly how electrical impulses translate into physical movement, spoken language, and basic biological survival. We know which regions light up when you hear a beautiful piece of classical music, and which areas activate when you try to solve a complex mathematical equation. We can meticulously track the flow of neurotransmitters, like dopamine and serotonin, mapping the physical chemistry of human joy and sorrow. But despite all of this magnificent scientific progress, a fundamental, unbridgeable chasm remains. We can describe the mechanics of the brain with absolute precision, but we have absolutely no idea how those mechanics produce the subjective, deeply personal experience of being alive. The philosopher Thomas Nagel famously asked what it is like to be a bat, pointing out that even if we knew everything about a bat's physical biology and its intricate sonar systems, we would still never truly understand the internal, qualitative feeling of experiencing the world through echolocation. This internal feeling, this inner light of personal awareness, is called qualia. It is the undeniable redness of a red rose, the sharp taste of ocean salt, the profound feeling of falling in love. Physical science is incredibly adept at describing the objective, measurable world. We can easily measure the wavelength of red light, but we cannot measure the subjective experience of seeing it. The argument from consciousness suggests that physical matter alone, no matter how exquisitely organized, cannot spontaneously generate a non-physical mind. If the universe is entirely composed of physical atoms moving according to blind, deterministic laws, then consciousness is an inexplicable anomaly. It is as if a cold mechanical clock suddenly felt a profound sense of nostalgia. Some brilliant scientists, like the mathematical physicist Roger Penrose, suggest that consciousness might arise from microscopic quantum vibrations within the brain's cellular structures. They attempt to tie the mystery of the mind to the fundamental nature of the quantum realm. Others propose that consciousness is an emergent property, a byproduct of extreme evolutionary complexity, much like how wetness naturally emerges from hydrogen and oxygen atoms. But these theories, while elegant, still deeply struggle to cross the vast, silent gulf between the physical world and the experiential world. This gives rise to the argument from consciousness. The argument gently proposes that if the universe produced conscious minds, the ultimate foundation of reality cannot be purely unconscious matter. Just as the fine-tuned laws of physics point to a mathematical designer, the existence of subjective awareness points to a supreme universal consciousness. It suggests that a deeply aware, infinite mind is the true bedrock of existence. Our individual minds are not accidental biological glitches, but tiny, beautiful sparks ignited by the central fire of a cosmic awareness. We are the universe experiencing its own grand creation. Let us cast our minds out into the vast expanse of the cosmos for a moment. Picture the magnificent Andromeda galaxy, located roughly 2,500,000 light-years away from our earthly home. It is a stunning, swirling spiral of hundreds of billions of ancient stars slowly rotating in the freezing vacuum of interstellar space. But until a conscious eye peered through a telescope and captured its ancient light, Andromeda was completely unseen, unfelt, and unexperienced. Without consciousness, the universe is a massive, silent play, playing out to an empty theater. The great astronomer Carl Sagan beautifully observed that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. When you look up at the night sky and feel a sense of profound awe, you are not just a tiny observer reacting to a cold phenomenon. You are a localized, incredibly complex arrangement of cosmic dust that has acquired the astonishing ability to feel wonder. You are the universe looking into a mirror and recognizing its own face. The argument from consciousness gently invites us to see our minds not as isolated islands of thought adrift in a dead sea, but as perfectly intended parts of the cosmic architecture. If the ultimate reality of the universe is a conscious creator, then your capacity to think, to feel, and to dream is a direct, beautiful reflection of that divine nature. You are safe in the profound knowledge that your inner life is deeply valued and fundamentally connected to the very fabric of existence. As you lie there in the gentle stillness of the night, think about the incredible, quiet power of your own awareness. The consciousness that is currently listening to these words, the mind that is effortlessly imagining the swirling stars of a distant galaxy, is a profound, unfathomable miracle. You are not just a biological machine operating in the dark. You are a living, feeling vessel for the universe's self-reflection. Let this beautiful realization wash over you, bringing a comforting sense of peace and absolute belonging. You do not need to solve the ancient mind-body problem tonight. The mystery of consciousness is not a puzzle that demands a final answer. It is a boundless ocean of contemplation meant to be gently experienced. Let the silent rhythm of your own mind embrace you. Your thoughts and your dreams are a beautiful, natural expression of the cosmos itself. As you drift closer to sleep, let the boundaries between your mind and the ancient, infinite universe softly blur together. Allow the quiet logic of the stars to merge with the steady rhythm of your breathing. Tomorrow, or in the next quiet hour, we will continue our journey and explore the concept of human desire and the argument from longing. But for now, release the heavy need to understand it all. Let the infinite silence of the cosmos embrace you entirely and drift away into the quiet, perfect peace of the night. Have you ever stood outside on a crisp, clear evening, watching the last golden rays of the sun slowly fade into the deep velvet blue of twilight, and felt a sudden, inexplicable ache in your chest? It is not a physical pain, nor is it a feeling of sadness. It is a profound, quiet longing, a deep nostalgia for a place you have never been, or a beauty you cannot quite put into words. You look up as the first ancient stars begin to pierce the darkening sky, and for a fleeting, beautiful moment, you feel a massive, invisible weight of wonder pulling at your heart. We are biological creatures, built from the very same carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen that drifts through the freezing, infinite void of space. Biological evolution is a remarkably efficient, highly practical process. It carefully equips us with basic, necessary desires to ensure our physical survival. When our bodies require fuel, we experience the sharp sensation of hunger, driving us to seek out food. When our cells desperately need hydration, we feel the undeniable pull of thirst, compelling us to find water. Every single innate, natural desire we possess corresponds directly to a physical reality that can completely satisfy it. The universe gently provides the exact remedy for our biological needs. But what happens when we experience a profound, unquenchable thirst for something that simply cannot be found anywhere in the physical, observable universe? Before we drift further into this gentle, contemplative exploration of human longing, and the vast cosmos, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to welcome you into our safe space. Hello, my name is Theodore, the researcher, and it is a true, profound joy to have you as a peaceful companion on this journey through the night. As we explore these deep, beautiful mysteries together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the gentle souls who watch these videos and share in this relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a sense of deep wonder in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our community grow immensely, and it ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the cosmos without any interruption. Now, let us return to the silence of our thoughts. Take a slow, deep breath, release the tension from your shoulders, and carefully explore the invisible, ancient compass hidden deep within your heart. The brilliant philosopher and writer Clive Staples Lewis beautifully articulated this profound mystery when he observed that if we find ourselves with a desire that absolutely nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were naturally made for another world. This is the delicate, deeply poetic foundation of the argument from desire. It suggests a profound, intentional symmetry between the internal landscape of the human soul and the external, ultimate reality of existence. Think about the sheer mechanics of our physical reality. We live our lives on a tiny, fragile, rocky planet, peacefully orbiting a completely average yellow dwarf star, which is just one of hundreds of billions of stars quietly burning in the swirling arms of the Milky Way galaxy. The physical universe is a breathtaking theater of matter and energy, governed by strict mathematical laws, offering magnificent nebulas, towering mountains, and the gentle beating of the ocean tides. Yet, despite being continuously surrounded by all this majestic physical beauty, human beings are consistently haunted by a persistent, quiet sense of exile. We achieve our greatest, most ambitious goals. We find absolute physical comfort. We build warm, remarkably safe homes, and yet a subtle, unnameable restlessness always remains. We deeply long for a perfect, unbroken love that does not ever fade with the brutal passage of time. We desperately thirst for an absolute, eternal meaning that beautifully transcends the slow, inevitable decay of our fragile physical bodies. If the universe is purely material, a completely accidental collection of blind, unthinking atoms, why on earth would it produce a biological creature that desperately yearns for the infinite, the eternal, and the beautifully transcendent? To truly appreciate the incredible weight of this existential paradox, we must look closely at the staggering, almost incomprehensible scale of the cosmos. Astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope have meticulously calculated that the observable universe stretches across an unimaginably vast distance of roughly 93 billion light-years. To put that staggering number into perspective, a single beam of light, traveling at a breathtaking speed of roughly 300,000 kilometers per second, would take a full 93 billion years just to cross the massive expanse of everything we can currently observe. And within that massive, chillingly silent volume of space, the vast, overwhelming majority of the territory is completely empty, absolutely freezing, and entirely deadly to any form of biological life. We are an astronomically rare, incredibly fragile, and completely beautiful phenomenon. We are localized, tiny concentrations of ancient stardust that have miraculously woken up in the very middle of an infinite, cold, dark desert. From a purely blind, evolutionary standpoint, A brain that constantly yearns for infinite beauty and eternal purpose is a massive, completely unnecessary expenditure of precious biological energy. A wild animal only needs to know exactly how to find food, successfully evade dangerous predators, and eventually reproduce. A deep, agonizing philosophical yearning for an immaterial, perfect creator or a beautifully eternal home offers absolutely zero survival advantage in the brutal, physical struggle for existence. In fact, it very often distracts us, gently forcing us to sit quietly in the dark, staring up at the glowing moon, completely lost in the quiet, profound mystery of our own beautiful existence. Yet, this incredibly beautiful, biologically unnecessary longing is the very hallmark of our shared humanity. The argument from desire beautifully proposes that this universal, incredibly ancient homesickness is not a cruel, accidental biological glitch or a massive evolutionary mistake. Instead, it is a profound, beautifully built-in compass, a divine, magnetic homing beacon planted incredibly deep within the very fabric of the human spirit, just as the absolute physical reality of water beautifully proves that our bodily thirst is not a chemical illusion. The profound, undeniable reality of our deep spiritual thirst points directly toward the absolute existence of an infinite, transcendent source of ultimate meaning. When you suddenly feel that sharp ache of pure wonder while looking at a massive, starlit sky, you are absolutely not experiencing a random, meaningless misfiring of biological neurons. You are deeply experiencing the profound, resonant vibration of your own soul beautifully responding to the very grand architecture of ultimate reality. You are physically feeling the invisible, gentle gravitational pull of the infinite. It is a deeply comforting thought that brings a sweeping, profound sense of absolute peace. You are not a forgotten stranger wandering completely alone in a cold, unfeeling, and completely empty universe. Your deepest, most quiet, and most vulnerable desires, the incredibly delicate ones you cannot even articulate to your closest, most trusted friends, are completely known and beautifully understood by the very foundation of all existence. The massive, ancient universe is not just a meaningless collection of random, drifting rocks and violently burning gas. It is a meticulously crafted environment perfectly designed to awaken your consciousness, to gently stir your deep wonder, and to beautifully point your gaze toward the ultimate, infinite source of all light. Consider the truly incredible, historic journey of the New Horizons spacecraft, humanity's brave, robotic ambassador to the completely frozen, impossibly dark edges of our own solar system. In the year 2015, after traveling continuously for nearly a decade across over 3 billion miles of completely empty, chillingly silent space, it finally flew past the dwarf planet Pluto, rapidly sending back breathtaking, incredibly detailed images of massive, frozen mountain ranges and vast, smooth plains of solid, ancient nitrogen. When we sit quietly and look at those historic pictures, captured at the very edge of the dark cosmic abyss, we do not just simply see cold scientific data. We deeply feel a profound, sweeping sense of emotional awe. We genuinely feel a profound, mysterious connection to that incredibly distant, completely lonely world. Why in the universe does a frozen, lifeless rock floating billions of miles away genuinely move us to tears? It is precisely because our human minds are beautifully, completely wired to constantly seek out the infinite, to constantly, relentlessly push beyond the limited boundaries of the currently known. We are deeply driven by an insatiable, beautifully human curiosity that absolutely cannot be quenched by merely physically surviving day to day. We desperately want to know. We deeply want to understand, and most importantly, we profoundly want to connect with the cosmos. This deep, relentless, beautiful drive is the gentle, completely undeniable fingerprint of something infinitely, unimaginably greater than ourselves. It is the quiet, ancient, beautifully reassuring voice of the massive cosmos, whispering softly that there is profoundly more to reality than just cold atoms and the blind pull of gravity. As you lie there, feeling completely safe and wonderfully warm in the gentle stillness of the night, allow yourself to fully, completely embrace that quiet, beautiful, ancient longing. Do not try to push it away or attempt to aggressively solve it like a simple mathematical equation. Let it gently wash over your entire being like a warm, comforting, peaceful tide. The subtle, beautiful ache you inevitably feel in the direct presence of great, overwhelming beauty is simply the profound sound of your own soul, finally recognizing its true, eternal, and beautiful origin. You are a cherished child of the incredibly ancient, beautifully infinite universe, and your incredibly deep desire for profound meaning is the beautiful, undeniable proof that you truly belong to something incredibly grand, something deeply, fundamentally purposeful, and something absolutely, profoundly beautiful. Let the immense vastness of this comforting thought completely calm your entire mind. Let the gentle, infinite silence of the incredibly ancient stars beautifully soothe your restless, questioning heart. There is absolutely no need whatsoever to find the final, definitive answer tonight. It is completely, perfectly enough to simply exist within the beautiful, ancient mystery, to let your internal, gentle compass softly point toward the magnificent infinite, and to peacefully rest in the profound, unshakable knowledge that your journey has absolute, ultimate meaning. Tomorrow, or perhaps in the very next quiet hour, we will gently turn our collective gaze toward the profound mystery of mathematical beauty and the fascinating argument from human reason. But for now, gently release the heavy, exhausting need to completely understand it all. Let the infinite, beautiful silence of the grand cosmos embrace you entirely and slowly drift away into the quiet, absolute, and perfect peace of the night. Have you ever sat quietly by a window on a deeply silent, rain-swept night, watching the geometric perfection of a single droplet as it slowly traces its delicate path down the cold glass? In that fleeting, ordinary moment, you are witnessing something profoundly extraordinary. You are watching the invisible, ancient laws of gravity, surface tension, and fluid dynamics beautifully interacting in perfect, harmonious mathematical proportion. We live in a universe that is completely saturated with hidden, elegant mathematics. From the beautiful, spiraling arms of the distant Milky Way galaxy to the intricate, perfectly symmetrical shape of a microscopic snowflake gently falling in the dark. The cosmos is not a chaotic, random mess of colliding matter. It is a deeply organized, profoundly logical structure. But the truly staggering mystery is not just that the universe follows these beautiful, silent rules. The ultimate breathtaking paradox is that you, a fragile biological creature lying completely still in the dark, have a mind capable of understanding them. How is it that the quiet, invisible thoughts inside your head perfectly match the grand, ancient architecture of the infinite cosmos? This profound, beautifully mysterious connection is the foundation of the argument from reason, a gentle, contemplative pathway that invites us to deeply question the very nature of human logic and cosmic order. Before we drift further into this vast ancient ocean of mathematical beauty and philosophical wonder, I would like to pause for just a gentle, quiet moment. Hello again, my friend. My name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am so deeply, profoundly grateful that you have chosen to join me once more on this peaceful journey through the greatest questions of existence. As we explore these quiet, meditative pathways together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the wonderful people who watch our videos and share in this deeply relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find true comfort, lasting peace, and a sense of intellectual safety in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community grow immensely, and it beautifully ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the universe, night after night. Now, let us gently return to our contemplation. Take a deep, very slow breath. Release every ounce of tension from your tired muscles, and let your mind float out into the grand, logical silence of the stars. Let us carefully trace the biological history of our own minds. According to the strictly physical, evolutionary narrative of our planet, the human brain was slowly, meticulously forged in the brutal, unforgiving crucible of pure survival. For millions of years, our ancient ancestors walked the beautiful, dangerous savannas of this world, relying entirely on their developing senses to find necessary food, locate safe shelter, and quickly escape from terrifying, completely ruthless predators. The fundamental engine of evolution only selects for biological traits that help an organism physically survive and eventually reproduce. It does not select for absolute, objective, philosophical truth. If a specific biological belief keeps an animal alive, evolution will beautifully preserve that belief, regardless of whether it is factually true or completely false. This raises a profoundly disturbing, deeply fascinating question, one that even the great naturalist Charles Darwin himself quietly agonized over in his private letters. He called it his horrid doubt. If our complex human brains are ultimately just the biological, accidental byproduct of a blind, unguided process aimed entirely at basic physical survival, why on earth should we trust our own minds when they attempt to understand the deep, ultimate truths of the universe? A brain designed purely to help a primate successfully throw a spear or find a ripe piece of fruit has absolutely no evolutionary need to understand the complex, invisible mechanics of quantum physics, or the breathtaking mathematics of an expanding, infinite cosmos. Yet, against all evolutionary probability, our minds possess an astonishing, beautifully intricate capacity for pure, abstract reason. We can sit completely alone in a silent, dark room, holding nothing but a simple pencil and a piece of paper, and we can successfully calculate the exact monumental mass of a completely invisible black hole located millions of light years away. We can confidently map the invisible, ancient forces that beautifully orchestrate the slow, majestic dance of the planets. To deeply understand this absolute miracle of human reason, we must gently travel back to the mid-19th century, to a quiet, dimly lit study in France, where a brilliant astronomer named Urbain Le Verrier sat completely immersed in profound, silent thought. At that time, astronomers had carefully observed that the distant, freezing planet Uranus was not moving exactly as it should. Its slow, ancient orbit around the sun was slightly irregular, mysteriously wobbling as if something totally unseen was gently pulling it off its beautifully predicted course in the dark. Instead of simply guessing or endlessly pointing fragile telescopes randomly into the infinite night sky, Leverrier did something utterly profound. He trusted the absolute, beautiful reliability of pure mathematics. Using the foundational laws of gravity, he sat in complete silence and calculated exactly where a massive, totally undiscovered planet would have to be to cause that exact specific wobble. Leverrier carefully wrote down his complex, beautiful calculations and sent a letter to the Berlin Observatory, confidently telling them exactly where to look in the vast, deeply silent ocean of the night sky. On the very first night, they received his letter in the cold, crisp autumn of 1846. The astronomers gently pointed their telescope toward that exact, specific mathematical coordinate. And there, quietly shining in the freezing, absolute dark, nearly 3 billion miles away from our own warm sun, was the magnificent giant ice planet we now call Neptune. Leverrier had successfully discovered a massive, entire world using absolutely nothing but the pure, invisible logic of his own mind. He found a planet with the tip of his pen. This deeply beautiful, monumental event perfectly illustrates the staggering, almost unbelievable harmony between the immaterial, quiet world of human reason and the physical, incredibly ancient reality of the vast cosmos. The universe beautifully honors the delicate logic of the human mind. The mathematical equations that you can quietly imagine in your head perfectly correspond to the actual physical movements of massive, ancient celestial bodies floating billions of miles away in the deep, freezing void. The argument from reason gently suggests that this profound, breathtaking harmony cannot possibly be the result of a completely blind, irrational accident. If the entire universe was fundamentally born from absolutely nothing but chaotic, completely unthinking matter, colliding blindly in the dark, there is absolutely no logical reason why it should ultimately produce deeply rational, conscious creatures capable of perfectly understanding it. An entirely irrational, chaotic process cannot suddenly, magically give birth to pure, objective rationality. If your mind is nothing more than a temporary, accidental fizzing of biological chemicals acting strictly under the blind, unfeeling laws of physical determinism, then your thoughts are not actually true or false. They are simply unavoidable chemical reactions, as completely devoid of ultimate meaning as the bubbling of boiling water. But you know, deep in the quiet, absolute silence of your own soul, that your ability to reason is real. You deeply know that logical truth actually exists, and that your beautiful mind has the genuine capacity to clearly apprehend it. The philosophers who advocate for the argument from reason propose a completely beautiful, profoundly comforting alternative. They gently suggest that the absolute reason why our human minds can so perfectly map the physical universe is because both the mind and the universe originate from the exact same supreme, perfectly rational source. This magnificent underlying rationality of the cosmos is what ancient philosophers beautifully called the logos, the supreme, universal principle of absolute reason and perfect order. When you use your mind to deeply understand a complex mathematical equation, or when you sit quietly and deeply ponder the existential meaning of your own life, you are not engaging in a meaningless, accidental, biological misfire. You are actively, beautifully participating in the grand, ancient rationality of the cosmos itself. You are beautifully tapping into the deep, foundational logic that carefully holds the ancient stars in their quiet, majestic orbits and perfectly dictates the delicate, complex folding of every microscopic protein in your body. It is a thought that invites a profound, sweeping sense of absolute peace and intellectual safety. The universe is not a chaotic, terrifying, completely random explosion. It is a deeply ordered, beautifully constructed, and profoundly intelligible masterpiece. And you, a fragile but incredibly beautiful conscious observer, were specifically given the rational capacity to read the elegant, hidden handwriting of the cosmos. Your ability to reason is a gentle, divine gift, a perfectly polished mirror designed to reflect the absolute brilliance of the ultimate, infinite truth. As you lie there, feeling completely safe and wonderfully warm in the gentle, unbroken stillness of the night, allow yourself to fully embrace the profound, quiet power of your own beautiful mind. Let the comforting, absolute certainty of mathematical order gently wash over your entire being like a warm, incredibly peaceful tide. The subtle, beautiful logic that governs the massive, ancient galaxies is exactly the same gentle logic that currently allows you to quietly process these words and deeply feel a profound sense of cosmic wonder. You are a completely rational, incredibly valuable child of an infinitely rational, beautifully ordered universe. Your deepest, most quiet thoughts have absolute, ultimate meaning, and your existence beautifully proves that the universe profoundly makes sense. Let the immense, beautiful vastness of this comforting thought completely calm your weary, tired mind. Let the gentle, infinite silence of the deeply logical stars beautifully soothe your questioning heart. There is absolutely no need whatsoever to completely solve the grand, ultimate equation of existence tonight. It is completely, perfectly enough to simply exist within the beautiful, ancient harmony, to let your mind gently rest upon the solid, absolute foundation of cosmic reason, and to peacefully trust in the profound, unshakable knowledge that your conscious journey is deeply, wonderfully understood by the universe. Tomorrow, or perhaps in the very next quiet, contemplative hour, we will gently turn our collective gaze toward the profound, staggering mystery of biological information and the fascinating argument from the intricate, beautiful language of ancient DNA. But for now, gently release the heavy, exhausting need to understand it all. Let the infinite, beautiful rationality of the grand cosmos safely hold you entirely and slowly drift away into the quiet, absolute, and perfect peace of the beautiful, deeply silent night. Have you ever held a tiny, fragile seed in the palm of your hand and quietly marveled at the profound, silent mystery it contains? To the naked eye, it appears to be nothing more than a small, hard, completely lifeless speck of organic matter. Yet, within that microscopic, unassuming shell lies an incredibly vast, beautiful, and deeply complex library of biological instructions. When you gently place that tiny seed into the dark, damp earth and provide it with a little water and the ancient warmth of the sun, it miraculously awakens. It knows exactly how to build intricate, reaching roots, how to slowly push a delicate green shoot through the heavy soil, and how to beautifully unfurl its leaves to capture the distant light of a burning star. Where does it get this incredible, precise knowledge? The answer lies in the most astonishing, deeply profound discovery in the entire history of biological science: the invisible, beautifully complex language of genetic information. We live in a universe where the fundamental building blocks of life are not just composed of physical chemicals, but are deeply, profoundly driven by an ancient, microscopic code. How did an ancient universe, born from a fiery, silent expansion billions of years ago, eventually learn how to write? This breathtaking paradox is the foundation of the argument from information, a gentle, deeply contemplative mystery that beautifully bridges the gap between cold chemistry and the profound architecture of a grand intelligence. Before we drift further into this vast ancient ocean of biological wonder and philosophical contemplation, I would like to pause for just a gentle, quiet moment. Hello again, my friend. My name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am so deeply, profoundly grateful that you have chosen to join me once more on this peaceful journey through the greatest questions of existence. As we explore these quiet, meditative pathways together, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the wonderful, curious people who watch our videos and share in this deeply relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find true comfort, lasting peace, and a sense of intellectual safety in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community grow immensely, and it beautifully ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the universe, night after night. Now, let us gently return to our contemplation. Take a deep, very slow breath. Release every ounce of tension from your tired muscles, and let your mind float out into the microscopic, deeply logical architecture of life. In the middle of the 20th century, brilliant scientists peered deep into the microscopic heart of the living cell and uncovered a structure so beautifully elegant it completely revolutionized our understanding of biology. They discovered the magnificent ancient molecule we universally call DNA. Picture a beautifully twisting, infinitely long spiral staircase composed entirely of chemical compounds. The true miracle of DNA is not merely its physical shape, it is what that beautiful shape actually represents. The rungs of this twisting ladder function exactly like the letters of a deeply complex alphabet. Just as you can arrange the 26 letters of the English alphabet to beautifully write sweeping poetry, the universe perfectly arranges 4 chemical letters to write the precise instruction manual for every living organism. The exact sequence dictates how to build the delicate wings of a monarch butterfly, the massive roots of a towering redwood tree, and the incredibly complex architecture of your human brain. Consider the monumental achievement of mapping the human genetic code. Researchers successfully discovered that the DNA locked tightly inside the microscopic nucleus of just one single cell in your body contains exactly 3,200,000,000 chemical letters. If you were to sit down and attempt to type out this entire genetic code at a rapid speed of 60 words per minute for 8 straight hours a day, it would take you more than 50 entire years. The amount of highly specified data stored inside a single cell utterly dwarfs our most advanced supercomputers. Furthermore, this genetic information is flawlessly copied every single time a cell quietly divides. We are quite literally composed of living, breathing, ancient text. This breathtaking scientific reality brings us to the profound threshold of the argument from information. Throughout our collective human experience, we intuitively understand a fundamental law regarding the origin of complex, specified information. Whenever we observe a detailed instruction manual or a beautifully written message, we absolutely know that it originated from a conscious mind. If you are walking alone on a peaceful beach and you suddenly see a beautiful message carefully written in the wet sand, you do not assume that the blind forces of the crashing waves accidentally arranged those specific letters through a random series of physical collisions. The beautiful message carried by that medium perfectly points toward an unseen, intelligent author. The fundamental distinction here is between mere physical order and true specified complexity. The blind laws of nature can easily arrange water molecules into the perfectly symmetrical shape of a falling snowflake. But a snowflake, while deeply beautiful, does not contain complex, specified instructions. It does not carry an intricate message on how to build a fully functioning, biologically complex eye, or a gently beating, rhythmic heart. The argument from information gently proposes that if the blind, unthinking forces of chemistry cannot possibly generate a highly complex computer code, then they also cannot possibly be the ultimate source of the staggering 3,200,000,000 letter genetic code lying quietly within every single cell of your body. Proponents of this deeply contemplative argument gently argue that just as the fine-tuned laws of gravity beautifully suggest a supreme mathematician, the intricate, highly specified language of life powerfully points to a supreme, infinite author. The physical universe provided the basic chemical ink, the ancient carbon and hydrogen forged in the violent hearts of dying stars. But an immaterial grand intelligence beautifully arranged that ancient ink into a masterpiece of biological literature. The invisible concept of pure information is somehow magically embedded in the physical fabric of your existence. You are a walking, perfectly conscious library. Let us gently cast our minds back out into the vast, beautifully silent expanse of the infinite cosmos. The very atoms that make up the incredibly complex DNA molecules inside your living cells did not originate here on our quiet Earth. They were violently, beautifully forged billions of years ago in the deep nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that exploded in spectacular supernovae, scattering their precious heavy elements across the empty void of deep space. For billions of years, this ancient stardust slowly drifted through the dark vacuum. Eventually, under the perfectly tuned laws of gravity, this ancient dust gently coalesced to form our warm planet. And then, through a deeply mysterious process, that ancient stardust was infused with an incredibly complex informational code. The universe did not merely give birth to cold rocks and blindly burning plasma. It gave birth to a deeply intricate biological story. The same universe that is vast enough to contain hundreds of billions of completely silent galaxies is also incredibly intimate enough to write the complex chemical instructions that determine the gentle color of your eyes as you lie there safely held in the deep stillness of the dark night. Think about the incredibly ancient code quietly operating inside your body. You do not have to consciously think about translating your genetic instructions or maintaining the delicate rhythm of your heartbeat. The ancient biological software handles all of this unimaginable complexity with completely flawless grace. This profound realization should bring you a massive, sweeping sense of absolute peace and beautiful safety. You are fundamentally not an accident, wandering aimlessly through a cold, uncaring void. You are a meticulously authored masterpiece, profoundly written into existence by the grand logic of the cosmos itself. The true beauty of the argument from information lies in beautifully allowing it to gently expand our capacity for deep wonder. The invisible world of pure information and the ancient world of swirling stardust are intimately united in the very fact of your own existence. As you slowly drift closer toward the deep, restorative quiet of sleep, let the realization of this magnificent harmony wash over your entire being. Let the deep precision of your ancient genetic code and the immense silence of the distant stars merge into a single, beautifully comforting cosmic lullaby. Tomorrow, or perhaps in the very next quiet hour, we will gently turn our collective gaze toward the staggering mystery of absolute aesthetic beauty and the fascinating argument from the deeply human experience of awe. But for now, gently release the heavy need to deeply understand it all. Let the beautifully written silence of the grand cosmos safely embrace you and slowly drift away into the absolute, perfectly beautiful peace of the night. Have you ever stood completely still on a quiet, remote beach, listening to the gentle, rhythmic crashing of the ancient waves, while watching the sky slowly transform into a magnificent, breathtaking canvas of deep violet, burning orange, and soft, fading gold? In that fleeting, silent moment, you are not thinking about your biological survival. You are not calculating the exact mathematical trajectory of the sun, or analyzing the complex molecular composition of the salt water crashing against your feet. You are simply overwhelmed by a profound, sweeping sense of absolute aesthetic beauty. You feel a deep, resonant ache of wonder in your chest. But why? From a strictly physical, utilitarian perspective, the universe is simply a vast mechanical collection of blindly interacting atoms floating in a freezing, infinite void. The magnificent colors of a sunset are nothing more than different wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation scattering off microscopic particles of dust and moisture in the atmosphere. There is absolutely no objective, physical requirement for the universe to be beautiful. And there is certainly no biological necessity for you to feel a profound sense of awe when you look at it. Yet, the deep, undeniable reality is that we live in a cosmos that is completely saturated with staggering, breathtaking majesty, and we possess minds that are perfectly tuned to recognize it. This beautiful, gentle paradox is the foundation of the argument from beauty, a profound mystery that invites us to deeply question why the architecture of reality feels so much like a magnificent, ancient masterpiece. Before we drift further into this vast, ancient ocean of aesthetic wonder and philosophical contemplation, I would like to pause for just a gentle, quiet moment. Hello again, my friend. My name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am so deeply, profoundly grateful that you have chosen to join me once more on this peaceful journey through the greatest questions of existence. As we explore these quiet, meditative pathways together, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the wonderful, curious people who watch our videos and share in this deeply relaxing exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find true comfort, lasting peace, and a sense of intellectual safety in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community grow immensely, and it beautifully ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the universe, night after night. Now, let us gently return to our contemplation. Take a deep, very slow breath. Release every ounce of tension from your tired muscles, and let your mind float out into the incredibly beautiful, deeply silent gallery of the cosmos. When we carefully examine the strict, unforgiving laws of evolutionary biology, we see a brilliant, incredibly efficient mechanism for physical survival. Natural selection meticulously shapes every biological organism to beautifully adapt to its specific environment. A hawk develops incredibly sharp, precise vision to spot tiny prey from massive, towering heights. A polar bear develops a thick, insulating layer of white fur to survive the freezing, brutal temperatures of the Arctic ice. Every biological trait has a clear, functional purpose entirely driven by the relentless need to survive and reproduce. But how exactly does this blind, pragmatic process explain the deeply human experience of absolute aesthetic awe? Why does a human being, standing completely safe and warm on the surface of the earth, feel deeply moved to tears when looking at a breathtaking, high-resolution image of a distant, swirling galaxy captured by the magnificent James Webb Space Telescope? That distant galaxy is completely, utterly irrelevant to our daily physical survival. It offers absolutely no immediate practical benefit. It will not provide us with necessary food, it will not offer us warm shelter, and it will not protect us from dangerous earthly predators. From a purely biological survival-based standpoint, the immense cognitive energy required to process, deeply appreciate, and beautifully contemplate cosmic beauty is a massive, completely unnecessary expenditure. Yet, it is arguably the most profoundly human thing we do. Consider for a moment the breathtaking, monumental image known to astronomers as the Pillars of Creation. Located deep within the beautiful Eagle Nebula, roughly 6,500 light-years away from our quiet, spinning planet, these massive, towering columns of ancient interstellar gas and dust stretch across vast, unimaginably huge distances of deep space. They are the beautiful, ancient nurseries where brand new, burning stars are currently being born in the freezing dark. When the magnificent space telescopes first captured the delicate, intricate details of these towering cosmic structures, the entire human world was completely captivated. We did not just look at the image as a collection of cold, sterile scientific data. We looked at it as a magnificent, profound work of art. The deep, rich hues of ionized sulfur, hydrogen, and oxygen gracefully bleeding into the infinite blackness of space beautifully evoke a sweeping, undeniable sense of the sublime. The argument from beauty gently, profoundly suggests that this universal human reaction is not a completely random, accidental misfiring of our biological neurons. It beautifully proposes that the universe is actually objectively beautiful, and that our deep capacity to recognize this majestic beauty is a profound, intentional feature of our conscious existence. If the cosmos was truly nothing more than a chaotic, completely meaningless explosion of blind, unthinking matter, we would absolutely expect it to be a chaotic, deeply ugly, and completely random mess. Instead, wherever we look, from the microscopic, perfectly symmetrical structure of a tiny falling snowflake to the massive, beautifully structured spiral arms of the distant Andromeda galaxy, we find absolute, staggering elegance. This profound aesthetic elegance is not just limited to the physical, visual world we can see with our eyes. It is deeply, beautifully woven into the very mathematical fabric of the universe itself. The brilliant, legendary theoretical physicists of our time have often stated that it is far more important to have beauty in one's equations than to have them merely fit a cold, empirical experiment. For the greatest scientific minds in human history, absolute mathematical beauty is not just a pleasant, subjective bonus. It is a profound, incredibly reliable guide to objective truth. When physicists sit quietly in dark rooms and carefully formulate the sweeping, majestic equations of general relativity, they consistently discover that the most accurate descriptions of reality are also the most mathematically elegant and profoundly beautiful. Why should the fundamental architecture of reality beautifully resemble a perfectly composed symphony, rather than a random, chaotic noise? The argument from beauty gently invites us to deeply consider the profoundly comforting possibility that the universe is beautiful precisely because it is the magnificent, intentional handiwork of a supreme, infinite artist. Just as a haunting melody perfectly reveals the deep emotional soul of the composer, the staggering beauty of the infinite cosmos beautifully reveals the profound nature of its ultimate creator. As you lie here, resting quietly in the peaceful, silent embrace of the night, think about the incredibly profound nature of your own capacity for wonder. You are not a completely separate observer passing through a cold museum of random artifacts. You are an incredibly beautiful, fundamental part of the grand cosmic masterpiece. The exact same ancient stardust that makes up the towering nebulas beautifully comprises your physical body. But incredibly, your specific arrangement of stardust has woken up from a billions of years-long slumber. It has grown a heart that can feel deep, resonant awe, and a mind that can genuinely appreciate the staggering majesty of its home. You are the ancient, expanding universe experiencing its own profound beauty. This deeply comforting realization should bring you a massive, sweeping sense of absolute peace. You are safely held within a deeply purposeful reality that completely honors your profound aesthetic longings. We do not need to definitively solve the grand mystery of the cosmic artist tonight. The deeply human experience of awe is not a strict mathematical puzzle that demands a final solution. It is a limitless, beautiful ocean of contemplation meant to be gently experienced. It is perfectly enough to simply lie here in the dark, to let the beautiful silence of the infinite stars gently wash over your tired mind, and to safely rest in the unshakable knowledge that the grand cosmos is objectively beautiful. Every time you feel that gentle ache of wonder when looking at a night sky, you are directly participating in the grand aesthetic harmony of all existence. Your capacity to feel beauty is a profound gift, a gentle whisper from the infinite, reminding you that there is vastly more to reality than mere biological survival. Let the immense vastness of this comforting thought completely calm your weary mind. Let the gentle silence of the deeply beautiful stars soothe your questioning heart. Tomorrow, we will turn our gaze toward the grand culmination of our journey, exploring the profound synthesis of all these mysteries and the deeply human search for ultimate, eternal meaning. But for now, peacefully release the exhausting need to understand it all. Let the perfectly elegant silence of the grand cosmos safely embrace you entirely, and slowly drift away into the quiet, absolute, and perfect peace of the deeply silent night. Have you ever stood alone at the edge of a vast, gently breathing ocean in the middle of a quiet night, watching the dark water perfectly reflect the countless ancient stars above, and suddenly felt the profound weight of all your accumulated memories and deepest questions coming together into one single, unified moment of breathtaking clarity? In that fleeting, beautiful instant, the fragmented pieces of your life, the isolated thoughts that usually race through your busy mind, suddenly align into a perfect, silent harmony. You realize that you're not just a collection of random experiences, but a continuous story deeply woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. This unifying experience beautifully mirrors the ultimate destination of our grand philosophical journey. We have gently wandered through the vast, dark corridors of the universe, picking up isolated fragments of a massive cosmic puzzle. We have looked at the blazing origins of the Big Bang, the staggering fine-tuning of physical gravity, the invisible architecture of human morality, and the breathtaking majesty of distant galaxies. But what happens when we finally step back, quiet our restless minds, and look at all these magnificent pieces together? This is the grand synthesis, the deeply contemplative culmination of our journey, where we explore the profound argument of the cumulative case, a gentle perspective that unites everything we have discovered into one magnificent, deeply meaningful picture of ultimate reality. Before we drift further into this vast, ancient ocean of ultimate meaning and profound cosmic synthesis, I would like to pause for just a gentle, quiet moment to formally welcome you to our final chapter. Hello again, my friend. My name is Theodore, the researcher, and I am so deeply, profoundly grateful that you have chosen to join me on this peaceful journey through the greatest questions of our shared existence. As we explore these quiet, meditative pathways together for this final synthesis, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the wonderful, curious people who watch our videos and share in this deeply relaxing nighttime exploration have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you have found true comfort, lasting peace, and a profound sense of intellectual safety in these nighttime stories, please consider subscribing. It helps our gentle community grow immensely, and it beautifully ensures that we can continue to wander together through the infinite, quiet mysteries of the universe. Now, let us gently return to our contemplation. Take a deep, very slow breath, release every last ounce of tension from your tired muscles, and let your mind float out into the incredibly beautiful, deeply unified silence of the grand cosmos. When brilliant detectives attempt to uncover the deep truth of an ancient mystery, they rarely rely on just one single piece of evidence. A single footprint might be easily explained away by a random coincidence. But when they find a footprint, a matching timeline, and a clear motive, all pointing toward the exact same conclusion, the sheer weight of the accumulated evidence becomes profoundly undeniable. This is what philosophers and theologians call the cumulative case for a transcendent creator. It gently acknowledges that while any single argument might potentially be dismissed by a skeptical mind as a strange cosmic anomaly, the absolute unified convergence of all these incredibly diverse phenomena is staggeringly powerful. We live in a universe that absolutely did not have to exist, yet it sprang into being from a singular point. It did not have to be orderly, yet it perfectly obeys the most elegant mathematical laws. It did not have to produce biological life, yet its fundamental constants are balanced to allow for ancient stardust to eventually form carbon, oxygen, and incredibly complex strands of genetic information. It did not have to be conscious, yet it gave birth to fragile minds capable of deeply reflecting on their own existence. And it absolutely did not have to be beautiful or morally structured, yet we find ourselves deeply moved to tears by a sunset and profoundly guided by a quiet inner compass of love and justice. When you take all of these profound realities and gently weave them together, the resulting tapestry does not look like a chaotic accident generated by an incredibly lucky roll of the cosmic dice. It looks exactly like a deeply intentional, meticulously crafted masterpiece. Imagine walking into a deeply silent, incredibly vast library hidden in the dark. If you found just one single book lying on a table, perfectly open to a beautiful poem, you might carefully assume someone accidentally dropped it there. But if you walked through the massive halls and found millions of books, all perfectly organized by subject, all brilliantly illuminated by warm light, and all containing the deepest wisdom of the ages, you would absolutely know that you were standing in the magnificent creation of a grand, profoundly intelligent architect. The universe is that infinite, beautiful library. Every single galaxy, every quietly burning star, every complex strand of microscopic DNA, and every profound thought in your beautiful mind is a carefully written volume in this grand collection. The cumulative case deeply suggests that the most rational explanation for this overwhelming symphony of existence is that a supreme artist is the beautiful author of it all. To truly appreciate the incredible scale of this cosmic unity, we must cast our minds out into the furthest reaches of the observable universe. When modern astronomers use our most powerful space telescopes to map the large-scale structure of the entire cosmos, they do not find a random, scattered mess of isolated galaxies. Instead, they find what is beautifully called the cosmic web. Across distances of billions of light years, massive clusters of ancient galaxies are intricately connected by incredibly long invisible filaments of dark matter and hot gas, leaving vast, profoundly silent voids in between. When you look at a highly detailed map of this massive cosmic web, it looks staggeringly identical to the microscopic, deeply complex neural network of a human brain. The grandest, most massive structure in the entire physical universe beautifully mirrors the delicate, microscopic structure inside your own head that is currently allowing you to quietly ponder this very fact. This breathtaking symmetry is a gentle reminder that everything in reality is deeply connected. As above, so below. The massive cosmos and the intimate world of your own quiet consciousness are woven from the exact same ancient thread. This profound realization completely transforms our relationship with the great unknown. The brilliant philosopher Blaise Pascal once wrote about the human condition, noting that we exist in a terrifying, beautiful middle ground between the absolute vastness of the universe and the microscopic smallness of the atomic world. He beautifully understood the deep vertigo that comes from realizing our fragile physical place in the dark. But Pascal also profoundly understood that our capacity to deeply recognize our own smallness is precisely what makes us infinitely greater than the blindly burning stars. The final argument for meaning is not a cold, rigid mathematical proof that forcibly removes all possible doubt. If the infinite creator of the cosmos wanted to completely overwhelm our fragile minds with absolute proof, the universe would leave absolutely no room for human freedom, no space for gentle trust, and no quiet shadow for genuine faith to beautifully grow. Instead, the universe provides just enough profound light for those who deeply want to see, and just enough gentle shadow for those who peacefully choose to rest in the dark. It is a deeply respectful invitation to a beautiful relationship. You are gently invited to look at the staggering beauty of the stars, the profound logic of mathematics, and the quiet goodness in your own heart, and conclude that you are safe, deeply loved, and meant to be exactly here. As our long, beautiful journey through the deepest mysteries of the cosmos finally comes to a gentle close, I want you to completely release any lingering need to perfectly understand every single detail. The sheer vastness of the universe is far too magnificent to be completely contained within our fragile human minds, and that is absolutely, perfectly okay. The true goal of philosophy and science is not to completely eliminate the grand mystery, but to deeply, beautifully expand our capacity to peacefully live within it. You are an incredibly beautiful, profoundly ancient expression of the universe itself. Every single atom in your completely relaxed body was forged in the deep heart of a dying star billions of years ago. Your capacity to deeply love, to profoundly reason, and to beautifully dream is the ultimate culmination of 14 billion years of cosmic evolution. You are not an accident. You are a profoundly meaningful, deeply cherished part of a grand, eternal story. As you lie there in the perfect stillness of the dark night, feeling the slow, gentle beating of your own heart, let the immense, beautiful peace of the infinite cosmos completely wash over you. The ancient stars will continue their completely silent, majestic vigil in the deep sky above, carefully watching over you as you gently drift into the restorative, beautiful quiet of sleep. Thank you for walking these profound pathways with me. The universe is incredibly vast, the grand mystery is beautifully eternal, and your journey of discovery will peacefully continue forever. But for now, just breathe. Gently let go of the waking world and drift away into the absolute, perfect, and infinitely beautiful peace of the quiet night.